Have you ever seen a place that thinks it's Rome, but lives like a bloke arguing with a courgette on an allotment in Sheffield? Welcome to Isaan, northeast Thailand, land of broken empires and unbroken stubbornness. Here, the ghosts of 1,000,000 elephants still strut through the mud, and every backyard is a sovereign nation the size of a garden shed. I have been living in this beautiful, baffling chaos for longer than I care to admit, and I have finally cracked the code. Isaan thinks like an empire, however, lives like a British allotment. Besides, the reason why, well, that is where it gets fascinating. Let us start with a swagger, because you cannot understand the chili patch until you understand the crown. 700 years ago, the kingdom of Lan Xang, land of 1,000,000 elephants, stretched from the Mekong River deep into what is now China, Cambodia and Vietnam. These people did not do small. They built temples that touched heaven, moved armies like weather stations, and thought of borders as suggestions, not rules. Now, fast forward to today. Most of that empire is gone, swallowed by modern maps, colonial hangovers, and the quiet cruelty of history. Nevertheless, the psychological DNA is still here. You hear it in the way my neighbour, Somchai, talks about his mango tree. That tree, he says, jabbing a finger at the sky, its grandfather fed the king of Vietnam. Never mind that the king died 200 years ago, the connection remains. The sense that this patch of red dirt is somehow connected to something vast, borderless and eternal. That is the first clue. Isaan does not measure itself by modern Thai administrative lines. It measures itself by memory, by the Mekong's curve, by the taste of sticky rice fermented in a clay jar. In their heads, they are still an empire in exile. Besides, empires do not do humble. However, here is the friction, and it is glorious, mud-flecked, slightly ridiculous friction. Because while the imagination is imperial, the reality, well, the reality is an allotment. Now, for my fellow Brits, you will understand the allotment. A small, fiercely guarded rectangle of council-owned dirt. You grow your own rhubarb. You argue with pigeons. You pretend you are not secretly delighted when your neighbour's runner beans fail. Isaan has taken that energy and amplified it by about 1,000%. Except replace rhubarb with chili so hot they could strip paint. However, replace pigeons with water buffalo that will break your fence if you look at them wrong. Every square inch of red dirt is here, optimized for survival and status, not in a grandiose way, in a granular, obsessive, I will fight you for that lemongrass way. My friend Dang, lovely woman, sharp tongue, has a backyard about the size of a London studio flat. In that space she grows basil, mint, 3 types of chili, morning glory, bitter melon, papaya, bananas, turmeric, galangal, and a single very angry lime tree that has declared war on her husband. When I asked her why she does not just buy these things from the market, which is a 5-minute walk away, she looked at me if I had suggested eating her cat. My garden, she said, my food, my rules. That is not gardening, that is geopolitics with a trowel. Besides, this is where I need to confess something slightly embarrassing. Last week I caught myself measuring my own tiny patch of Isaan dirt. I was counting my cucumber seedlings, not for fun, for strategy. I actually thought, if the 7-Eleven closes, I have 6 cucumbers. That is 3 days of survival. Then I realised what I was doing. I, a grumpy Englishman who once bought all his meals from a Tesco meal deal, was behaving like a feudal lord defending a fiefdom against marauding inflation. I looked at my Thai neighbour. He was doing the exact same thing with his spring onions. We nodded at each other, no words needed. The allotment empire understands its own. Here is a deeper truth, and it is not just grumpy old man talk. The British allotment was born from war and scarcity, the dig for victory campaigns, the ration books, and the quiet pride of a full pantry. It is about order, neat rows, labelled seed packets, a place for everything and everything in its place. Isaan's garden is the opposite of neat. It is chaos. Vines climb over broken motorbike parts. Mint spreads like gossip. A single chicken will wander through and undo your entire morning's work. However, beneath that chaos is the same stubborn spirit. And now, in 2026, that spirit is not quaint. It is strategic. Because, let us be honest, the global economy is a circus on fire. Prices bounce like a ping pong ball with anxiety. And the supermarkets, they do not care if you eat or not. Nevertheless, a bitter melon from your own backyard, that melon owes nothing to supply chains, shipping lanes or corporate quarterly reports. That melon is sovereignty. Besides, that is the secret rebellion. Every time an Isaan grandmother pulls a chili from her own soil, she is not just cooking dinner, she is flipping the finger to the modern world. You think I need you? That chili says. I have dirt, I have rain, I have stubbornness. Good luck, Tesco Lotus. However, let us not pretend it is easy. The friction is real and it hurts. There is a psychological tension to living here that I did not expect. On one hand, everyone has a phone. TikTok dances, global news, dreams of a new pickup truck. The whole shiny, globalized world is right there in your palm. On the other hand, your hands are covered in mud from unblocking a drain so your morning glory does not drown. How do you hold these two things together? The imperial ghost and the muddy reality? You do not. You just live in the gap. And that gap, I realized, is the actual genius, because the people here do not choose between grand ambition and small-scale survival. They do both. They would talk about the glorious Lan Xang empire while picking caterpillars off a single tomato plant. They will remember the kings of old while patching a plastic water barrel with a flip-flop. It is not a contradiction, it is a survival tactic. When your empire is carved up by bigger powers, French colonializers, Siamese kings, modern borders, you do not give up. You shrink, you go local, you defend the one thing no one can take from you, your own little square of dirt. Therefore, here is my argument, and I know it sounds mad, but stay with me. The most powerful empire in Isaan today is not a kingdom. It is not a political movement. It is not some greater Isaan dream. It is the allotment. Because an empire that depends on borders, armies and palaces, that empire falls. And it always has, always will. However, an empire that exists in a million backyards, that is decentralized, that is resilient, that is a patch of mint here, a chili plant there, a bitter melon vine climbing over a broken fence. You cannot conquer it, you cannot bomb it, you cannot tax it into submission, because it is not one thing. It's a million tiny acts of defiance happening every morning before the sun gets too hot. That is the Lan Xang inheritance. Not the stones, not the ruins, the mindset. The belief that a single person with a hoe and a bit of stubborn pride is still a sovereign force. So, after all that grumbling, after all that mud and the chilies and the ghost elephants, here is what I have learned. Isaan does not need to rebuild its empire. It already did. It just rebuilt it smaller. Muddy, chaotic, hilariously stubborn, Every backyard is a kingdom, every vegetable is a citizen, and every grumpy old man with a watering can is, in his own mind, the undisputed emperor of 6 square meters and a very angry lime tree. And you know what? That is not defeat. That is the best kind of victory. Right. I am off to argue with a caterpillar. It is sitting on my only cucumber. It thinks it owns the place. It does not. Look, I cannot be the only one fighting the one-man war against aphids and existential dread. Tell me in the comments, what is the smallest, silliest, most fiercely defended thing in your life right now? A house plant, a single tomato, a parking space? Go on, make me feel normal. Besides, if you want more grumpy expeditions into the chaos of everyday survival, smash that like button and the subscribe button if you must. I will be here. Same mud, same scowl, same bitter melon. Take care, happy weeding, and goodbye.